Most people think buying life insurance is just checking off a box. Pick a policy, pay the bill, done. But here's the shocking truth. The number one reason people regret their life insurance choice is not what you'd expect. And if you make the same mistake, it could cost your family thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars, and possibly leave them unprotected when they need it most. Life insurance is one of those things nobody really wants to talk about until it's too late. But here's the thing, if you get it wrong, your family could end up struggling financially during the hardest time of their lives. And here's the kicker. Most regrets about life insurance don't show up right away. They creep up 10, 20, even 30 years down the road when it's too late to fix them. So today I want to walk you through the single biggest reason people regret their life insurance choice, and more importantly, how you can avoid it. Whether you're buying your very first policy or thinking about adjusting the one you already have, this is something you'll want to hear. Now, before we dive in, quick reminder. If you find videos like this helpful, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more financial content every single week. And know that none of this content is financial advice. All right, let's jump in. Let's start with the biggest myth. Most people believe the most important decision is which company you buy from. They think, as long as it's a big name company, I'm safe. But the truth is, that's more often than not the problem. The number one regret people have with life insurance is choosing the wrong type of policy for their actual needs. In other words, it's not about the company, it's about the structure of your contract. Here's where most of the confusion starts. There are two main types of life insurance, term insurance and permanent insurance. Term insurance is like renting coverage. You get it for a set period of time, 10, 20, maybe 30 years. It's usually cheap, but once the term ends, it ends. Permanent insurance, like whole life or universal life, is like owning coverage. It's more expensive, but it lasts as long as you live, and it builds cash value. Now here's the problem. Most people buy a policy without fully understanding which one actually fits their life goals. They either get talked into an expensive permanent policy they don't need, or they buy a cheap term policy but then outlive it and end up without coverage when they actually need it the most. That's the regret. Buying the wrong type for the wrong reasons. And why does this happen? 3 big reasons. 1. Sales pressure. Insurance agents get paid different commissions depending on the policy type. That means sometimes the advice isn't really about you, it's about them. 2. Lack of education. Most people don't know how to compare policies. They see the price, they see the number of years, and that's about it. Nobody really explains the long-term trade-offs. 3. Short-term thinking. People buy based on today, what's affordable right now, without thinking about how their needs will change in 20 or 30 years. So when life changes, when you have kids, when you buy a home, when you're older and your health isn't the same, that's when regret hits. Because now your policy doesn't match your life anymore. Let me give you 2 quick examples. First, imagine John. He buys a 20-year term policy at 30 years old because it's cheap. At 50, that policy expires. But now he still has kids in college, he's got a mortgage, and his health isn't as good. Renewing his coverage at 50 is insanely expensive, and he regrets not thinking long-term when he was younger. On the other side, imagine Sarah. She's in her 20s, and an agent convinces her to buy a whole life policy that costs hundreds of dollars a month. It eats up her budget, and she ends up canceling it after a few years because she can't keep up with the payments. That policy wasn't right for her situation either. Both John and Sarah regret their decisions, but for opposite reasons, and both could have been avoided with the right planning up front. Now here's something most people don't realize. Your life insurance needs are not static. They change as your life changes. That's another reason people regret their choice. They treated it like a one-and-done decision when, in reality, it's something you should revisit every few years. Think about it. At 25, maybe your only concern is covering student loans or making sure your spouse isn't stuck with rent. Fast forward to 35, you might have kids, a mortgage, and much bigger financial responsibilities. By 50, maybe the house is nearly paid off, but You're now thinking about college tuition or leaving something behind for your grandkids. If your insurance policy doesn't evolve with you, it eventually stops making sense. And unfortunately, that's when many people realize they're stuck with coverage that either costs too much or doesn't protect what matters most anymore. Another key factor most people overlook is inflation. A $500,000 policy today might sound like a lot, but 20 years from now, it may cover far less than you think. That's why people sometimes feel blindsided later, because what looked like a huge safety net decades earlier turns out to be pretty thin. So here's the takeaway. Don't just think about the type of policy, term or permanent. Also think about how much coverage you'll realistically need over the years and whether your policy can adjust to that. Some policies allow riders or add-ons that let you increase coverage later without requalifying for health reasons. That can be a lifesaver if your health changes but your financial needs grow. The families who avoid regret are the ones who treat life insurance like a living part of their financial plan, not just paperwork they shove in a drawer and forget about. So, how do you avoid being like John or Sarah? Here are 2 easy steps. 1. Get clear on your purpose. For example, you can ask yourself, am I protecting income for my kids if I die early? If so, term insurance might be enough. Or you could ask yourself, do I want to leave behind a guaranteed inheritance or build cash value for future use? Then permanent might be worth it. 2. Think long-term, not just today. Life insurance is not just a bill. It's a plan. You've got to look ahead at how your life will evolve. Kids, mortgage, retirement, health, and make sure your coverage grows with you. If you follow these steps, you can almost completely avoid the number one regret people have. Now, let me give you a quick checklist you can use when you're looking at a policy. Do I fully understand if it's term or permanent? Do I know exactly when the coverage ends? Do I know what happens if I cancel early? Do I know how much more expensive it will be to renew later? Does this policy fit my financial goals, not just my budget of today? If you can't answer all of those questions confidently, that's a red flag. So, slow down before signing anything. So let's recap quickly. The number one reason people regret their life insurance choice isn't the company they picked. It's buying the wrong type of policy. Too many people either buy term and regret it when it expires, or they buy permanent and regret it when they can't afford it. The way to avoid this regret is to 1. Be clear on your purpose. 2. Think long term. 3. Get advice from someone who actually puts your needs first. Do that, and you'll be way ahead of the majority of people who rush into a policy they don't fully understand. So, what do you think? Have you ever bought a life insurance policy you later regretted? Or are you currently shopping and worried about making the wrong choice? Drop your story or question in the comments. And if this video helped you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos where we break down other financial topics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.